Professor Dr. Ghazali, and other viewers. I am here to present the second aspect of my assignment 1, literature review. I am Oluwashola Dada Ajewole. I started the literature review from the principle of microfinance bank, as stated in CBN 2013. There are 11 principles of microfinance. That is, microfinance feed the needs and preference of clients, powerful instrument against poverty, build financial system that serve the poor, sustainability is required to reach more active poor, credit may not be the first solution to some poor, interest rate can hinder the poor access to credit, that is, high interest rate. Donor should complement and not compete. And one of the key constraints is institutional and human capacity. Model can be defined as the application or the outcome of theories. They represent a physical theory or a projection of an underlying theory. There are a number of models, that is microfinance model. This includes self-help group, federated self-help group, Grameen Bank, cooperative, Oredegbe, and other informal savings windows. The self-help group, cooperative, Oredegbe, and individual model have track of success in Nigeria, while Grameen model have not been successful in Nigeria because of some factors, as stated by Olowe and others. Challenges of microfinance institutions. A number of challenges have been mentioned by different authors, like Asiaman Aklose, Siga, asserted in Akwasi and Giba 2014. Technical and managerial skill, inadequate capital, poor infrastructure, competition with universal banks, and then role incongruence. In Nigeria, 224 microfinance bank licenses were withdrawn or revoked in 2010. The rationale for this include poor corporate governance, abuses, poor risk management practices, and compliance, non-compliance with prudential requirements, abandonment of mission, and illiquidity. The implication of this revocation is a significant erosion in confidence of the public in the subsector. Challenges of microfinance institutions. Other authors put a number of factors like high interest rates, instability in government policy, heavy investment in capital market and fixed assets, over-dependent on conventional banks as part of the challenges of microfinance. The findings of Akan and Adem, however, contradicted that of Kanu and Isu on the inadequate business opportunity in Nigeria. That is, Kanu and Isu said there are no business opportunities, while other 4 authors, they contradicted it that there are number of opportunities for microfinance banks in Nigeria. The author however failed to recommend how these challenges can be turned to opportunities or how microfinance can get the best out of these situations. This is one of the reasons why these studies is being carried out. According to Selina cited by Howard, model serves as the structure, formulation of theory, and a physical tool that verifies theories. Strategy models include classical decision-making, administrative, political, judgmental, military, 8X, and mixed bag general. They can be divided into rational and non-rational, though few of the models share both characteristics. Classical decision-making was based on complete information and the ability to analyze all alternatives, though this model has been flawed by bounded rationality. Administrative model, few managers having cognitive limitation and acting with incomplete information in risky and uncertain environment, while judgmental heuristic introduces heuristic to simplify decision making. The 8S model focuses on 8 elements that support effective strategy execution, while mixed bag model proposes 3 phases: identification, development, and selection. Researchers have put forward a number of analytical tools that are sensitive to the size, nature, complexity, and environment of organization in strategic decision making. These include strategic analysis by Johnson and So, balance scorecard by Kaplan and Newton, and 5 forces competitive by Porter. The SMD theories include group, that is, strategic decision-making theories include group, subjective, expected, prospect, satisfied, and attribution. Attribution of non-rational include, that is, attribute of non-rational theories include non-optimization, descriptive, ecological rationality, and cognitive building blocks. Subjective expected utility theory assume subjective utility, subjective probability, and individual seeking gain and avoiding pleasure. Full information on alternative and rational decision. This assumption also has been flawed by bounded rationality. Prospect theory is a behavioral theory that describes how people choose between probabilistic alternatives that involve risk, where the probability of outcome are known. The theory postulated that the curve is concave for gains, that is risk aversion, convex for losses, that's a risk seeking, but generally steeper for losses than gain, that is loss aversion. While satisficing theory combines two things, satisfying and service, as stated by Albert Salmon 1956. Theories of strategic decision making. Attribution is the process by which individuals explain the causes of behavior and events, while attribution theory explains these processes. Multi-attribute utility theory, MAUT, function is used to represent the preference of an agent over bundles of goods under uncertainty. Unlike previous theories, MAUT incorporated several single attribute utility. The theory is highly quantitative, which may be difficult to understand by management. Challenges of strategy execution. Among the implicated factors for the failure of strategy include leadership style, inaccurate information, uncertainty, defective organizational structure and culture, incompetent human resource and technology, coordination problem, deviation from plan, inadequate resources, loss of key staff. The survey of AMA, that is American Management Association, highlighted 10 hindrances to successful strategy execution. The first 6 are lack of resources, government regulations, lack of follow-up, competitive pressure, inadequate communication and feedback, and lack of performance measure linked to outcome. Challenges of strategy execution continues. The author posited that execution of strategy failed for lack of suitability, acceptability, and feasibility. In addition, strategy may be robust at the time of planning, but no longer relevant or suitable at the point of execution. The global survey conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers 2013 revealed that one of the top reasons for the inconsistency in an organizational level of preparation for change is misalignment between their strategic intent and operational execution. The implication is that there exists gap between strategic intent and execution. The survey went further to recommend solutions to the alignment challenges. Theories of corporate governance. We look at agency, stewardship, stakeholders, resource dependence, political, legitimacy, and social contract. Stewardship states that managers, when left on their own, will indeed act as a responsible steward of the asset they control, while the stakeholder addresses moral and value in management of resources. It discusses the principle of who and what really counts in strategic management, as stated by Freeman 1984. Theories of corporate governance. Resource dependence discuss how the external resources of organization influence the behavior of the organization, while political talk about the process where occupancy of responsible position like board membership is determined by the number of votes received in an election or selection process. Risk management method. This includes identifying, characterizing threat, assess vulnerability of critical assets to specific threat, determining the risk, identify way to reduce those risks, prioritizing risk reduction measure based on strategy and risk reporting, as stated in ISO 31000. The study of OECD as cited in OECD 2014 identified the following as the major learning point from the risk crisis of 2009-2010. The risk was managed on silos rather than enterprise-wide. Risk managers were separated from management. Board members had knowledge gap on risk management. and many regulators and standard setters misinterpreted effective risk management. It was, however, recommended that risk should be understood, managed, and when appropriate, communicated effectively. Regulation and supervision of microfinance bank. The Company and Allied Matters Act of Nigeria empowers Central Bank of Nigeria to license banks and other financial institutions, while that particular act also empowers both CBN and NDIC, that is Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, to conjointly supervise microfinance banks. Licensing is done purely by CBN, while routine examinations are carried out by OFIS. OFIS means Other Financial Institution Supervision Department, which is domiciled in Central Bank of Nigeria, while SEED is Specially Insured Institution Department in NDIC. All licensed institutions are required to add microfinance bank after their names, and the capital requirements are stated: 20 million for units, 100 million for state microfinance bank, and 2 billion for national microfinance bank. Theoretical framework: we look at the dependent variable, which is strategy execution, and 5 independent variables, and then 2 intervening variables. The 5 independent variables are poor corporate governance, inefficient risk management practices, incompetent board and management team, non-compliance with minimum prudential requirements, mission and mission drift. Mission drift is divided into 2. We look at significant activities and implementation of business model. The identified intervening variables are instability in government and erosion of confidence in the subsector, which are these intervening variables are outside the control of the MFBs. As it depicted on the diagram, we can see the poor corporate governance, inefficient risk management practices, incompetent board and management team, mission drift, then non-compliance with minimum prudential. You can move closer to the board so that you can see it very well. The theoretical framework is saying that the poor corporate governance, inefficient risk management,
to go closer,
incompetent board, mission drift, the 4, they have relationship among one another, and they are influenced by erosion in public confidence, while non-compliance with minimum prudential requirements has intervening variable on that, which is instability in government policy, and they all affect execution of strategy. Thank you.